Hello everybody and welcome to another deck profile. Today I'm bringing you my Sky Striker deck profile that I took to my regionals last weekend. So I picked up this deck because I decided I wanted to play something pretty meta relevant in the regionals I was attending, and it turned out pretty well. I went 5-3-1 with this deck that I didn't pick up too long ago, and I think I did pretty well with the deck. Well, without further ado, let's get into the build. So as always, 3 copies of Sky Striker's Ace Raye. There's like no other reason you shouldn't play 3 copies. The deck's been out for so long, there's no real reason to explain what this card does, but it's really good for starting off your plays and your turn. Helps protect you from hand traps and stuff. If they get hit, you get to bring Raye back, etc. etc. Raye, staple 3 of. Then 3 copies of Ash, 2 copies of Ogre, 2 copies of Veiler. Ash was not actually that good in my rounds. Ash really underperformed. Sometimes I hit the Gazelle. That's probably like the best thing I would hit. Sometimes hit the Engage, but like for the most part, I personally didn't like Ash Blossom all that much in this format. Ogre was okay. Ogre was pretty good. Veiler was pretty mediocre, dependent on the matchups. But Ogre was really good against Lady Debug. It was also really good against Multirole. Veiler was okay against Kagari. It was, I don't know, Veiler underperformed. This should be a Ghost Spell or DD Crow. It would be definitely better, but this was just a hand trap lineup that I went with in the main deck. That's it for monsters. That's 10 monsters. Onto spells, 3 copies of Engage. Obviously, totally creative, right? 3 Engage. Nobody ever thought of this. Haha. Well, Engage definitely for sure. This card's the product read of the deck. It's a Rhoda and a draw one that's insane. Searchable, dumpable, everything. This makes the deck run. If you don't know yet, this card's actually getting a reprint, so it's definitely more affordable to play this deck in July in the new Battles of Legend. But that also means that this card will probably get untouched on the ban list. Anyways, 3 copies of Anchor. Anchor was really good. It was really good against Thunder Dragon. Stopped the Colossus from stopping me from searching. It was also really good against Salamangreat. I could take their monsters so they couldn't Reincarnation Link summon with it. It was also good against Striker in the Mirror, where you take their guy, and then at the end phase it goes back to their main. They can't use any spells or traps. Yeah, spells, not traps. And then Afterburners, it's pretty standard. This card, like, I don't think I really popped anything at all. Like, this card just underperformed in general. It's really good against Rogue, but like against meta, everything is protection anyways, like Veil Links or like Eagle Booster. And then 2 copies of Jamming Wave. Jamming Waves at 2 was a last minute sec that I decided on. This card at 2 copies is ridiculously good. Just because this format has so much set with like Sub-Terror and Altergeist and Salamangreat, even Striker. So 2 copies of Jamming Wave saved me a lot, where I would just hit like a Called by the Grave or like a Twin Twister that I don't want to see, or like a Salamangreat Roar. I hit it and then like I basically am able to play through with my hand without any interruptions. So like the 2 copies of Jamming Wave was super, super good. I'm really happy I ended up playing that instead of just 1 Jamming Waves. And then 1 Shard Cannon. This card was okay, helped me link climb sometimes. It was really good just to hit like the Salamangreat cards in grave when they use their effects, like Jaguar or like Falco or Foxy. And then 2 copies of Eagle Booster just to make sure your Kagari or your Hayate or like your Shizuku, like they're able to resolve, so like they don't get hit by hand traps or anything. And then Hornet Drone, really good to push for damage, also start up your turn. Yeah, not much more to say about this. It's a really solid card. And then Hercules base. This card I main deck just for grind games. It's not the best card, but it's really good against like mirror matchups where you're able to recycle your Kagari, so you're able to keep looping your resources. And I was able to actually equip this onto my Kagari once and then crash into 2 Scapegoat tokens just to draw 2 cards, which was kind of nuts. But that's really rare and doesn't really happen too much. And then 3 copies of Multirole. Really solid card. This will probably be the card to get hit on the ban list. It makes the deck super consistent. In my games, I found that like in Sky Striker Mirrors, the player who had the Multirole was the player who usually ended up winning, because you're just able to use resources on your opponent's turn and your own turn and again and again and again, which makes this card super insane. Also, with the synergy with Area 0, being able to send that off to plus with Raye is just really nice. So speaking of Area 0, 3 copies of Area 0. Digs for your resources, pretty standard. And then the 2, Terraforming to search the area 0. Terraforming particularly is really good because it gets you an extra spell in your grave to search the area 0. And if you already have area 0 in your hand, you can set the Terraforming to target it with area 0. Then you can get your resources more that way. But yeah, my build isn't super creative. There's not much that's like super tacked, but like in the main deck, it's pretty standard and straightforward. So 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Sending Metal Flows Fusion is it's literally an upstart goblin, but like if before you resolve Metal Flows Fusion, if you send it, you get 2 spells into grave. Or you can send cards like Engage, so you can grab it back with Kagari, like if you don't open it, which is it's happened sometimes. But more often it's better to send Metal Flows Fusion for the extra draw 1. Rhoda, search for Raye, and it dumps a spell into grave with itself. Double Called by the Grave to stop hand traps. In the mirror matchup, I would side this out because for the most part, if I'm going to use this, I'm going to hit myself. Like I'm going to negate my own effects too. And then Upstart Goblin, extra spell, no reason to not play it. The 1,000 life points don't really matter unless it's game 3, then you don't really want to play it. But yeah, that's it for main. On to extra deck. Kagari, really good. You target the Engage or whatever you use to grab it back to plus harder. 3 copies of Shizuku. Shizuku End Phase Search, super good. If you don't get your Engage early, you make Shizuku, then you can search the Engage at the end of the turn so that you can use it for next turn. In the games that I played, when my opponent would use Winter Cherries, they would usually call for Kagari, but I found that when they called Shizuku, it hurt my plays a lot more because if I don't open good, if they call Shizuku, then I'm unable to get my Engage from my deck, and I basically just can't play the game. But either one of these targets are super good for cherries, so yeah. 2 copies of Hayate, 1 Kaina. I really wish I played a 3rd Hayate just because there was so much beatdown involved where I was just making Hayate, attacking 15 over and over again until like either time was called or I won. And then Kaina at 2 copies is probably good. Like even just making this in between like your Kagari and Shizuku, just like making this targeting opponent's monster they can't attack, it sort of helps you from getting OTK'd or like out-resourced by like from them crashing into your ace, whatever your ace is at the time. But like Kaina's actually really good. Also Kaina for time, if you're going first, you make Kaina, use spells, stall for time. That didn't actually happen too much for me. And then with Hayate, if you're going second, in game 3 you can hit in time and then you win with the new time rules, which are kind of stupid, but I mean, it's still the rules of the game, so yeah. And then Borreload, Topologic Bomber Dragon, Nightmare Unicorn. I didn't make any of these for, like, I didn't make, like, this could have been Boral Sword, and I probably still wouldn't have made it. I just never had the opportunity to get 4 monsters on board where I just didn't have game anyways. Akashic Magician I made once. It was kind of like a small, like a gimmick that I had where I bounced the opponent's monster, then I just hit for game. And then Phoenix I made just because I would take their guy and then I would link them off so that they wouldn't get it back. But like in general, that was the extra deck. Not too much there. I would probably replace the Triple Burst with another Hayate and like Borreload with another Kaina, just because Bomber Dragon with Eagle Booster and like the Hornet Drone or Short Cannon is really insane because it's unaffected by everything and then you get to Raigeki your opponent's board over and over again. And then onto the side deck, this is where I think I had a bit more, well, not necessarily originality, but just a bit more like uniqueness into the deck. Just 3rd copy of Ogre. 2 Lancias, this card was really good against Thunder Dragon. Like it basically ended their turn with this card. So I was able to win that game. I opened Lancia. Triple Pancratops. I never sided this in because I never played against Altergeist, but the logic behind Pancratops was to make this to pop hidden the Secret Village of Spellcasters or Summon Limit or anything like that. I should have probably sided this in against Sky Striker a bit more, but like it just never came to mind, so I never sided it. It didn't really matter. I just never made this the whole tournament. And then 3 Twin Twisters, I sided this in like every single time. This card is super good. Really good against Striker, really good against Subterror, really good against... It's not really good against Salamangreat, but it's pretty good against Salamangreat. similar to that, shared ride, sided in against every striker matchup. I sided in 2 copies for Salamangreat because it's not amazing, but it's still really good. And then the MVP of my side deck is Super Poly with Violet Chimera and Dragostapelia. I think I made this 4 times in 9 rounds. Like, Super Poly, first of all, really, really good for breaking apart Salamangreat boards. And then Violet Chimera with Shizuku on board is insane. Like, there was this one time I had Shizuku, and then I turned my Hayate and my opponent's monster into Violet Chimera, and it was, since Shizuku drops the opponent's monster attack, Violet Chimera gets the effect to get double the attack, and that basically had an OTK. And in general, Super Poly was really good for, again, breaking apart boards and also interrupting plays. Like, I would make this on my opponent's turn with their Sunlight Wolf or their other Salamangreat monsters to make Violet Chimera. And yeah, Dragostapelia is used for Thunder Dragons, and yeah, just Thunder Dragon. But like, I never drew it Super Poly against Thunder Dragon. But in any case, I still had it inside because I didn't really want to deal with that board. But in any case, that about sums up the deck profile. If you guys enjoyed, please let me know. Let me know your thoughts on my build in the comment section below. If you have any thoughts, suggestions on what I should build next and profile next, just let me know. See you guys in the next video.